in shape. Well, let me go back a little bit. The buildings on the spectator side are pretty rotted out. They'd have
Mhm.
to level those. Uh, I know the maintenance barn would be okay. The boys and the restrooms would be okay, but the other buildings, they're just junk.
But then the stands could be
The stands
questionable
need
in
to
places
replace.
too.
Yeah. So we'll see. And
Mhm.
I was hoping that Terry would come today.
Yeah, there was that
Uh,
possibility,
yeah,
and stuff.
and so we'll see. I hope so.
Yeah, because I told him, I said, I'm in South Bend, but I can't just spur of the moment do something. But
Yeah,
we set something up, I can get my butt over here and
yeah, or meet you halfway
whatever
or
we need to
something.
have done,
Yeah,
And I said,
yeah,
I have no trouble doing interviews, and
yeah,
I said we got a lot of material from the past,
yeah.
and there's such a great group of guys from that years ago. And I said, let them talk about Bearfield, and
Yeah.
a lot of them raced at other tracks. And
Yeah.
so let's hopefully they say there's a glimmer. It's so expensive to sit on a
Well, it
racetrack
is.
now.
It's going to take a lot of money, and to get it presentable, and even if you race just a few times a year, the first year, second year, then develop into a full time thing, And,
Sometimes
so,
it's scary though when it's like, we'll redo it, and you think pack stands, but then you look at some weekly shows and it's like you can almost count them on your hand.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
even like a weekly show at South Bend, sometimes the crowds are
Yeah.
down, in the 500-600s, and
yeah,
it's like, man, it's just like, it's everything's got to be just right.
yeah.
And then you do those night of destructions, and it's cloudy, it's misting rain, and there's 4,000 people there. It's like it doesn't matter what they'll come out no matter what it
Right,
is.
yeah,
They'll do a demo derby in
Yeah.
October, and it's like freezing. I mean, you see your breath. There's picture frames with frost on them, and yet the place will be damn near packed.
Packed.
And they're like, well, this is fine.
Yeah,
Like, well, I don't know about this.
yeah, yeah.
But, just the way that is, though. So, well, it was cool to watch you race, and the 33 is tough. Sometimes it's like,
Yeah.
God, that darn Lambert, he does awfully good. But then
Yeah.
the competition was there, and
Yeah.
it's like you did what you had to do to
Yeah.
win, and
Just,
you
I
didn't want to
always
run.
enjoyed it.
Never
I
fun
always
racing
enjoyed
in 7th or
Speedway.
8th or 12th. It's like
Yeah.
you're always there.
So
But thanks again for
thank
coming
you,
out.
sir. Thank you for what you're doing too, by the way,
Oh.
and appreciate it very much.
Hopefully, we'll be at Winchester again this year, and
Yes, yes.
that's a good time down there. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of miles, even some miles for you to get down there
Yeah,
from Fort Wayne.
it
But
takes me an hour and 20 minutes to get down
it,
there. But,
like
so,
168 for me, but boy, so many people love those books down there. It's
Oh,
like
yeah,
you
yeah.
get somebody down there and they're like, I'm out of Columbus, and I remember I set books up one year and I had all the different books, and then I go, I'm going to put all the star drivers in this one book, so I don't have Don Gregory and Bob Sineker in about 20 different places, and people get kind of tired and aggravated. So I just put all the Sineker pictures together, plus what I had, Butch Miller, Shear. And there was a guy there from Columbus. He goes, my name. And he told me, he says, there was a guy, he had to be in his 20s, but he had that southern accent. And he goes, there was a guy named Don Gregory. He drove a number 7. And he was a pretty good driver. You ain't got a picture. You ever hear of him? I'm like, oh my God, yeah. I said, I got actually about 30 pictures of him.
Yeah.
And he was like, and I said, I
top
can
of
make
the world, yeah.
I can make copies of them. I think he took 20 pictures out like the first hour I
There
was
you go.
there.
Yeah.
And then other people are like, what's happened to all these pictures?
Yeah, yeah.
But then that darn Gregory, he had a brother. And so his brother was up there, and his brother was just, they probably had a few bruises to loosen up. So he comes up to me, and we're talking and that, and he said, I'm Don Gregory's brother. I'm like, well, that's cool. I said, I got a lot of pictures of him and stuff. And he says, I got Don's out in the camper right now. I'll get him back over here. And I said, okay, cool. So, other people are looking at different things, and this guy comes up and he's like, hey, you're the guy that told me that Don Gregory's a dirty driver. That was his, I'm like, what? He goes, and Don was behind him. And he says, I thought you told me Don was a dirty driver and, rough driver. And I'm like, no, I never said nothing like that, And he says, good, because Don's standing behind me. And I'm like, holy, and Don's like, he's such an ass. He says, he's just not trying to cause trouble.
Yeah, Don Gregory would always have parties there at Winchester.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, people just flock around that.
And
that part.
so he looked at the photos and he's like, oh, this is really awesome. He was like, I said, you're more famous than you think, because of the cowboy hat and just someone's out of Columbus. You're always one of the players. He always had that Circuit of Champions. And that was always cool, too, when they did those pictures on the Circuit of Champions. They'd have that picture of Trickle and then Gregor with the cowboy hat. And Dave Ward would kind of have like that perfect hair picture. And then Sineker looked like he just got out of the car. And, and just that was neat how they did those pictures like that, just that little bit in that. And I said, that was such a cool time back then. And I said, if you coming out of Columbus, you had Morris Smith and Carl at Runnaville and that, had some success racing. But I said, But you can hold your own against those guys.
Yeah.
He says when you beat ASA guys like that, he says that's the best of the best.
Yeah.
He says I don't care about NASCAR. He says to win at this level against those guys, not too many guys can do that.
I stay involved in racing. I'm a full-time spectator, and I'm very fortunate. I have a wife that enjoys the races, and we just got back from Daytona, the end of February, and that's always been on my bucket list to go down there, and had a good time and went to New Smyrna and Volusia County, and so.
That's a long state. I never realized how long Florida was until
yeah.
I was up there for Volusia and the New Smyrna, and then we had relatives in Port St. Lucie, so we can stay down there for free. Well, I thought it was like maybe 70 miles south. It was almost like 180 miles
At
south
least
of there.
Yeah,
and we're coming back to Volusia for the Supers on Wednesday and Friday. Now, I'm not so sure this is a good idea. We're traveling almost 360 miles to rent a car back and forth just to stay for, saving $35. I'm like, Christ, it's like spending 3 hours on the road each night. But yeah, it's a big state.
So we get our race schedule together between my wife and I, and go to it. We like out there for a while. I was trying to schedule a track that I've never been to before. And 2 years ago, we've never been up to Birch Run.
Okay.
And we went up there. The CRA guys were racing there.
Are the Jegs maybe?
Yeah.
Jeg series?
Yeah. And I've been following the Brett Jack's two boys, Tanner and Hunter.
I remember they were like this big.
Oh my gosh, I remember when they were racing go-karts at Barrett Field.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, and then Hunter got the opportunity to run an ARCA car because he won the championship the year before in the CRA Super Series, and was able to go down, and they gave him a ride to go around the track, and he said he was running 180 miles an hour. But,
Isn't that crazy?
Good
kids.
Yeah,
great
kids.
It's aged me seeing those guys in the scrummies. I
Oh,
remember Bobby and David being little. Now they're Nick and Dylan are racing, and it's like, man, that really aged me. And then to see the Hunter, because I took a picture of Brett one time, and the boys, they had a canopy of new pairs, and the boys were hanging on that thing like monkeys. And I got a picture of Brett, and the kids are all like hanging on. And I showed that to Brett, and his wife saw it, Denise. She goes, "Oh my God!" I said, "Now look at them; they're in fire suits, and they're racing and everything, and that. So what a neat deal there."
Yeah, good family racing, I'll tell you. So.
But thanks for coming.
Okay, thank you.
And you're gonna enjoy the rest of the show.
I will.
Trying to keep some of the old timers awake. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Okay.